Hey, welcome in and welcome back, everybody. It is Laura, and we are going to talk about this Pisces full moon total eclipse. And so this is a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, and so it is in opposition to the sun, which is in Virgo. And so we are talking about the Virgo Pisces axis, which is the axis of service. And so this is such a powerful karmic full moon eclipse. It is deeply emotional, and it is tied to the North Node. And so this is going to be super intense because it is a total lunar eclipse. It is happening at 15 degrees 22, which also is carrying the tarot archetypes of the devil and the fool. And so this North-South Node eclipse really is aligning us to our life purpose. And so this is kind of where the past is likely going to resurface in order for that resolution once and for all. And so this is going to be clearing the space, I want to say, for this brand new chapter. We see the full moon eclipse happening in the third house, which then puts the sun in opposition to that. In the ninth house, we've got this cluster of Pisces energy between the moon, the North Node, and Saturn, all in Pisces. And then in the ninth house, we have the sun, Mercury, and the South Node. And so this really is a huge emphasis, I want to say, on breaking the illusions, breaking free from these old patterns, and really reclaiming our spiritual freedom and our spiritual sovereignty. And because this is kind of sitting at the midpoint, right smack dab in the middle of this Pisces energy, I do feel this particular lunation is really going to be highlighting this tension, longing for that escape, longing for that divine union, and then this very loud judgment call to ground into our physical reality, right? And I've been saying this for a while. This North Node in Pisces energy really is about becoming the grounded, intuitive healer, right? And so because there is a very heavy karmic energy attached to this lunation, with the devil representing attachments, there's illusions, there's toxic cycles here, there's these codependencies that we need to kind of eclipse out of the path in order to prepare for the new beginning of the Fool archetype coming through. We're going to need to take a blind leap of faith here, right? And so we have to have that faith in the unknown. That's what the Fool archetype is asking us of this lunation. And so you might feel caught between like a rock and a hard place, or caught between two polarities, two forces, right? Where one keeps trying to pull you back into what is familiar, what feels safe. That's the karmic energy. That's the addictive energy. And then the other pull is saying, hey, come over this way. There's freedom over here. There's liberation over here. There is a fresh chapter over here. And so this eclipse, because it is connected so tightly to the North Node, this is illuminating the higher pathway, right? And so this is all happening for somewhere in our own personal birth chart. For me, it's between the first house and the seventh house. So if you remember a couple weeks ago, we had that first new moon in Virgo. It was at 0 degrees, which was the planting of the seeds for the new chapter connected to that house. For me, it was in the 6th house. And now I'm moving to the 1st and the 7th house. So I've had the North Node actually transiting my first house for quite some time, right? Because I'm an early degree Pisces rising. I'm a Pisces rising at 5 degree 50. And so I've had the North Node really sitting in there for a little while now. And so this really is where we come into alignment of our true path, right? And so there's this earthly duties versus divine longing, right? And so the Pisces rising for me is all about the ethers. It's all about the oneness. It's all about the divinity and tapping into spiritual source. And then the 7th house is like that reality check for me. And hey, I have day-to-day earthly duties. I can't just spend all my time floating around up there in these spiritual energies. It's the wake-up call, right? And so somewhere in your birth chart, you're likely dealing with the Virgo Pisces polarity, right? And we all have these energies somewhere in our birth chart. Even if you have an intercepted chart where you're doubling down on some houses, and maybe you don't have a Pisces Virgo axis on your housing side, but these are still going to be present in your birth chart. There is a deep, I feel, illumination coming forward connected to soul contracts and the completion of the soul ties and the soul contracts from past lives. And so Virgo, I'm very familiar with Virgo energy as a Virgo moon, a Jupiter in Virgo, a Saturn in Virgo. I have a pretty prominent Virgo stellium in my birth chart. Let me tell you, Virgo wants to improve. Virgo wants clarity. Virgo wants structure. Virgo wants order. Virgo is all about grounded responsibility, okay, structure and order. And Virgo does rule the 6th house naturally. And the 6th house is about health, wellness, routines, our service mission, our daily service mission, our work. And it does demand a certain level of integrity, okay? And so there's going to be like these little small details that anchor us into the physical world connected to the Virgo axis. Now, the Pisces axis, on the other hand, wants to dissolve the boundaries. It wants to merge with something greater. It has this ideal. It has this dream. It has this dream of a divine beloved or divine union. It's like the siren's call type of energy is what I want to call it. And it is the call, I want to say, of transcendence. Pisces is all about transcendence, but oftentimes Pisces can drift into avoidance, right? And so Pisces also rules illusion and escapism, hence the devil energy in this full moon, archetypal energy. And so this eclipse really is, I want to say, emphasizing the Piscean axis, where the new moon in 2 weeks' time on September 21st is going to really emphasize the Virgo axis of these polarities. And so something is going to be set into motion. The sun in Virgo is going to be highlighting or spotlighting something, revealing an illusion connected to Pisces, or maybe where you've been hiding from grounding in truth or grounding in, hey, we live in a physical reality, and to be a grounded healer, we have to be present. We have to be structured. We need order in our physical reality, right? And so we're being asked to integrate the two polarities and to find that balance, right? Because we're here to ground in our physical, spiritual vision. We have to have that practical embodiment of our divinity in our day-to-day life. And so this is really important, because this is one part of a 2-part eclipse sequence, right? And so with the second eclipse, like I said, at the new moon in Virgo in 2 weeks' time at 29 degrees, there is something closing out beginning during this Pisces full moon eclipse this weekend. So whatever is revealed this weekend is going to be asking us to get to a resolution for in 2 weeks' time, so we can complete that karma or that karmic cycle. And so there's several eclipse aspects that I want to touch base on, touching the moon. And so we do see the moon here in a conjunction to the North Node, and this is happening in the 3rd house. So the 3rd house is about communication. The 3rd house is connected to our brothers, our sisters, our siblings, our cousins, our close-knit community, like our neighborhood, our neighbors. And this is carrying with it this tarot archetype of the moon reversed and judgment. The moon reversed is a wake-up call, right? This eclipse is definitely going to feel faded, and there's going to be an emphasis pointing to, I want to say, communication. And so this is all about truthful communication, though, right? And Pisces blurs the boundaries. So there could have been something hidden in plain sight, or just something that you didn't want to look at because you didn't want the old narrative to collapse connected to some type of an illusion, maybe within a brotherhood or a sisterhood or a tight-knit community. And so there's going to be a revelation coming to the surface, especially with the moon reverse, connected to the karmic pathway. And there's going to be words heard or words spoken that you can't unspeak and you can't unhear. And with that semi-square to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and Pluto sitting in that 2nd house, there's still that very prominent Magician reverse, Knight of Cups reversed energy. And so this is financial, this is material, this is struggles. And when we struggle with our self-worth, we're always going to struggle financially and materially in the physical reality, right? And so with Pluto retrograde in the second house, it's going to dig up all of these toxic attachments to money, how we control people through money, or any toxic emotional patterns to give us a sense of self-worth in our life, right? And so the Magician reversed is highlighting manipulation or manipulative patterns, and all of these half-truths that you've been sitting in, they're going to be exposed. So there's going to be no more avoiding that truth. We do have this moon in a trine to Lilith in Scorpio, and Lilith in the 11th house, just on the cusp of the 12th house. There's this Knight of Wands, Page of Swords energy. There's this Moon, Five of Wands energy. And there's going to be intensity within some type of bigger community is what I'm feeling. And Lilith is that repressed feminine energy. It confronts everything shadowy, taboo. There's going to be jealousy, I feel, exposed, competition exposed. So if somebody's been hiding their patterns of jealousy, that's going to come to the surface. There's this push, though, towards raw authenticity within the larger community, right? Within a group or within a soul tribe. And so there could be the breakdown of a false community, of a false soul tribe. This really is, though, I feel so much bigger than that. It's like this collective awakening of these shadow truths so we can reclaim back our raw authenticity. It is sextile to Priapus. Priapus and Taurus in the 5th house. Priapus is connected to the shadow masculine energy. Priapus is always in opposition to Lilith. And so there's the moon and the world archetypes coming through in that 5th house. The 5th house is connected to children. It's connected to sex. It's connected to fun, to short-term romance, to taking risks, to gambling. And I do feel this is where we reach that karmic completion in love, in romance. And we use these toxic cycles for that creative muse energy to start something new. The Priapus energy is going to intensify these hidden desires and this desire for union. And so Taurus, though, is demanding embodiment, right? Taurus, I'm a Taurus. I know all about that archetype. It demands stability. You give Taurus a task and they're going to follow it through because Taurus archetypal energy holds lasting value, okay? It's in opposition to the sun, of course. It's also in opposition to Mercury and the South Node and all of that Virgo energy sitting in the 9th house of Leo. There's this Judgment, High Priestess energy coming through, the Wheel of Fortune with the High Priestess. And so major tension. There is major tension coming through in that 9th house because the 9th house is higher learning. I always call the 9th house the hedge maze of the mind because it's really where we go into the labyrinth of all of these patterns, all of these thoughts, and we turn it into wisdom. We turn it into our philosophy for life, our philosophy for spirituality, and it isn't in opposition to the intuitive, ungrounded Piscean energy. Okay, and so the South Node is going to really highlight where we overanalyze things, and especially in the 9th house. And where we tie perfectionism to our path, right? And so that can be coming at a very high expense, right? Because Pisces is also demanding the flow of energies. So with the quincunx to Venus and Leo, and Venus sitting in the 8th house, this one's pretty interesting. This one kind of hit a nerve for me because I feel this Wheel of Fortune energy, the Three of Swords energy, the Devil, and the Ace of Cups. There is a very strong karmic feminine energy sitting in that 8th house during the time of this eclipse. And it's really going to highlight intimacy, I feel. It's going to highlight shared resources and soul contracts. And so there is a very heavy, prominent Queen of Wands energy being activated under this eclipse. And this is really suggesting a lot of distorted feminine wounds around power, love, and attachment to money. Okay, and so this is really going to reveal that deep karmic tie that's binding us that we need to break free from in order to go towards the magnetic pull of that divine union. And so this is a pretty heavy energy. It's also in a trine to Jupiter, and Jupiter is also sitting in the 8th house. So it's really going to expand this karmic completion. It's really going to expand this karmic exposure. And so I just feel we're at a major spiritual karmic checkpoint. And we're going to have to work through every thread, everything we've not wanted to look at. We're going to have to look at it under this full moon. We're going to have to look to where we're still clinging to something that's toxic, something familiar, something karmic, in order to step forward into the unknown, into the feeling of vulnerability for that divine union. And so we are being asked to balance our embodiment of divinity with our devotion to our spiritual path. And we've got to, bottom line, we've got to stop chasing illusions. We have to bring all of these ideals, especially with Uranus now retrograde, we have to bring all of these spiritual ideals, these divine inspirational hits, into grounded form. That's what the next 2 weeks is asking us to do. There's going to be revelations now that we can never, ever ignore moving forward. So whatever you've been ignoring, there's no more ignoring these revelations, okay? And it's going to all reach this climax. So this is really going to deeply affect Virgo and Pisces in the collective, especially if you have like degree ranges from like 8 degrees to 16 degrees or even like 20 degrees. Whatever is revealed now, it's going to reach its climax, and we're going to have to clear it all by the Virgo new moon on September 21st. And so we're basically in this collective soul reckoning energy this weekend. So listen to your body, listen to the cues, listen to the messages, trust your intuition. If there's exposure of karmic relationships, trust your inner voice. Really trust that inner niggling feeling, because eclipse season is here. And the truth is going to be unavoidable. So let's dig in with some cards. Let's see what other messages need to come through for the universe. And let's talk about it. All right. Let's kick it off with the Oracle of 7 deck. The Oracle of the 7 Energies by Colette Baron-Reid. So let's see what the cards have to say about this eclipse this weekend. I love it. All right. We get the beautiful uncaging. This is karmic debt 14, and so there is a tempering, I want to say, and so we're kind of uncaging ourselves from these old soul contracts. And so there is also, what I want to say, is a very prominent 3 of Swords energy, and then we get the Spirit of Gratitude. And so I do feel we are breaking free from these third-party entanglements. I do feel a third party here. It is this birthing energy. I feel moving on from entanglements, moving on from third party, and paying off some karmic debt. And so it is an uncaging, and I do feel it's going to be painstakingly beautiful. So there's going to be a massive release from anything that has kind of held you back and tied you back from really following your true soul's calling. And so there's a key there, right? A keyhole. And so what I want to say is you hold the key, because you can always choose to break free, but it's going to require embracing some massive changes. So what do the Oracle of 7 Energies have to say connected to this eclipse? What do you got for us this weekend, Spirit? What do we all need to know, be prepared for? What is kind of coming in with this eclipse? They kind of both flipped out in reversed. So I'm going to show them to you upright, and I'm going to talk about the reversed meaning. So the first card out, Roots of Abundance. It's a 2 card. So in reversed, I want to say get prepared to be uprooted. This is kind of bringing forward like a 2 of Wands in reverse, almost like the rug getting pulled out of a situation because there's been inaction or an inability to make a choice, or I don't want to choose a path, so I'm going to just stay here and I'm going to let somebody else choose the path for me. There's also this High Priestess in reverse quality. And so there's like a revelation of some hidden truths. And I do think this is connected to that 4th house where the full moon is sitting at. And so this is a deeply rooted ancestral pattern, and getting to the root cause of maybe a lack of abundance, or why we hold on to a karmic cycle in a certain relationship, because the fear of losing stability And then we get a powerful move, but it was in reverse. And so it is a 15 card. So there's that devil reversed. And so the devil doesn't want you to make a powerful move, right? The devil wants you to stay chained to whatever it is that holds you back from winning the game. And I keep hearing checkmate, right? And so I do feel there's a powerful move here that needs to be made, but there's this sense of inaction. There's this sense of like, no, I'm going to stay here where it's safe. I'm not going to make a move. I'm going to play it safe because, you know, maybe it's not super abundant, but it's stable, it's secure, it makes me feel safe. But usually the confines of that safety net really aren't safe at all. So what's the final card? Look at that. We get a tall tale. And so there is a deep-seated core wound being activated under this eclipse energy, okay? And so I always feel Pinocchio energy with this card. And there's almost like a magician reversed quality coming through because he's kind of sitting on that top hat. And whenever I see a top hat, well, I think of a magician, right? I think of the magician pulling the rabbit out of the hat. So somebody here is a liar. I think lies are getting exposed. This is triggering a core wound, right? And so somebody here has really got woven in with something toxic, and I've never really noticed that on this card before, but it looks like a green monster inside like the fogginess of the top hat. And so I do feel somebody could be playing on your wounds, or somebody knows how to play on your weak spots to manipulate you, to keep you stuck, is really what's coming through there. And it's going to take great strength to break free, right? Because the devil seeks to keep you under its strings like a puppet on a string. And look at that, the beautiful uncaging. And so there is a tempering happening here. There is a breaking free. And look at below the beautiful uncaging, exposed and revealed. So I'm really feeling almost like a third eye activation, and that goes right into what we see under this full moon eclipse we can't unsee. And right in the eye pupil, we see a person sitting there in the fetal position, which is also to me the energy of going back to that core wound that keeps us looped in these negative repetitive patterns, because it feels safe, because it feels like home, because it feels familiar. And just because it feels familiar doesn't mean that it's safe. There's also a world quality to this exposed and revealed. And so there is this karmic cycle reaching completion. There's an activation. And I do feel there's like this time machine energy being activated where we kind of see everything in all space and time, which is definitely in alignment with that Piscean energy. And there is a sacred reverence in this disillusionment. So I feel somebody here is being disillusioned out of a karmic cycle where I feel maybe they've held on to a lie, or they were manipulated to stay in a situation and not make a powerful move. But there is union here. There is unity here. And so we are all interconnected. We are connected to the earth. We are connected to one another. What we see in another is also alive within us, right? And the journey is really a mirroring journey. And so there is a 7 of Cups here. And I do want to say, be careful what it is that you choose, because what you choose will eventually own you. And so once again, the key. And so you hold the key to this beautiful uncaging, but you first have to disillusion yourself from some type of tall tale, whether you've told yourself a lie, or you've lied to another, or you're entrenched in some type of entanglement that was built on a lie. But there's creation energy here. There is almost like going into this time space continuum portal of going back so we can go forward, right? And so everything exists simultaneously all at once. The past, the future, and the present. And so it's like the visionary third eye activation. And then we get the royal you. And I'm going to stop there on the bottom of the deck. And so there's a tower. This is to break apart everything that isn't in alignment with you stepping into your divinity, right? The royal you, crown chakra activation. This is the activation of the tower to dismantle all of the old false beliefs, all of the tall tales that you've told yourself since childhood that have kept you caged into another person's ideal of you or projection of you. And you are stepping into writing your own story. Look at that, the storyteller. So we go from 16 to 17. And after the Tower does come the Star in the major arcana. And so this is where we write a new story. We all hold the key to our own destiny. We all can create a different reality, but we do have to choose to break down the illusions and to see things at face value, to have that sacred union with the divine, with one, with everything, and to break free from anything that holds you back from building the most authentic path for yourself, right? And so what I see here is the start of a new story. And I love it. I said I was going to stop there, but you know what? It is what it is. And that's the card. It is what it is. And so when we get to a place on our journey where we can say, hey, it is what it is, and we stop over analyzing it or stop trying to perfect a story to fit into our ideal of a situation, then that new doorway, that new path is going to open. Right now it's closed. Right now it's closed. And so we have to choose to open the door. We have to choose to walk down the new path, walk through the closed door. And we don't know exactly what's on the other side, but we have to leave the past behind, and we have to ground in this earth magic. And so that's the Oracle's gift in this Piscean full moon. And so there is a certain level of needing to get grounded and bring in that reality check. So let's go a little bit further here with the tarot, and let's see what the tarot has to say. So unblocking the heart. The Two of Swords reversed. The Two of Swords upright, pardon me, the Four of Cups in reverse. This is releasing stagnancy. This is, hey, you know what? We can sit and stew and ponder and keep ourselves stuck and stagnant, looking back at a past missed opportunity, right? But the way I see it is what it is. And nothing that is meant for us will ever fully pass us by. And so this is also the breaking away of third party that keeps us stuck in illusions, right? Because life's not meant to be a party. We're not meant to indulge and party our lives away. We have spiritual work to do, right? And so let go of the past, let go of the missed opportunities, and let it go. I just want to say, let it go. Unblock the heart. Be willing to maybe look at things from a new perspective. Have that blind faith, I feel, as well, when it comes to taking that leap of faith. But it is the energy of seeing things at face value, trusting in your intuition, trusting what it is that you're feeling, even if you can't quite see it yet, right? So let's get 9 of these cards out, and let's see what this full moon in Pisces has to say today. What are we in store for here? Look at that. The Hermit reverse. There's that Virgo South Node energy coming through. That King of Swords, he's been very loud in the readings recently. There is a divine masculine here, receiving communication, receiving downloads from the divine. And there is a breakdown of the ego, Strength reverse. We could have a masculine here feeling weary. We could have a masculine here that doesn't know if they can actually embrace this new cycle. I'm not sure what come out first, but I'm being guided to put the Six of Wands reversed below the Hermit reverse. We get the Fool reversed is the central energy, and that is one of the main archetypes connected to this full moon eclipse. So we do have a very prominent King of Swords, divine masculine energy. Could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Doesn't have to be. But there is a karmic reckoning. There is a fall from grace. There is the breakdown of the ego, of the narcissistic patterns. We do have a masculine feeling foolish. I do think he's seeing clearly how maybe his withholding communication has sent him down the pathway of many challenges. There's not victory here. This, I don't want to like sound rude, but feels like a loser and a kind of energy, or the masculine is feeling like a loser. And the Emperor reversed is a clear indication of some karmic debt being paid. And so, yeah, there's the unblocking of the heart pain that's been avoided. And so there is a brand new beginning here, but it's once again feeling very painful. And it is an energy, I want to say, of being disillusioned with the Hanged Man in reversed. And so we do have Neptune retrograde in Aries. It will also be joining Saturn in retrograde that just dipped back into Pisces, and these two outer planets are going to be dancing together, holding hands together, and will come into an exact conjunction in the spring of 2026. So we could have a divine masculine here just beginning the journey of the dark night of the soul, of the breakdown of the ego, because the strength reversed is saying somebody really has allowed their logic to overpower their heart, and they've tried to maybe logically think their way through a painful ending, and now there's a need to feel it. And so somebody here very well could also be playing the martyr or the victim. There's like a victim mentality here coming through, and this is divine masculine in the fall energy for sure, without a doubt. And there's that King of Wands coming through again today. But there's a decision, there's a choice point. There's always another decision or choice point. We're always presented with two paths in every single moment of our waking life, right? We can choose to rinse and repeat and keep going down the karmic pathway and not making that powerful move, avoiding the true roots of abundance, which is authenticity, uncaging ourselves from these patterns. We always have the choice to take action towards a different path, towards the higher path, towards the path of truth and embodiment. And once again, we do have a masculine here that is being presented with a choice. They can choose a divine partner. There is another strong, prominent energy of a divine feminine coming through that is very single, very abundant, grounded, very well could be a Virgo, Taurus, or Libra. We have a feminine here that has mastered her journey, her divinity, her sovereignty. She's abundant. She's coming into, I want to say, reaping a harvest. But I do feel this action will require some type of confession or giving it to God. It's going to require facing the abandonment wounds, facing where maybe you've rejected the higher path, where there's a need to get honest about the heartbreak that you've really avoided that's blocking your path forward, right? We can't move from relationship to relationship. We have to do the deep soul work of feeling it and healing it, or we will never ever have that authentic new beginning. And so there is a giving it to God energy under the full moon eclipse. In this weekend portal of energies, it is leading down a new path, but it's going to require inner child healing that I feel has been avoided, right? And so what we don't heal, we repeat throughout generation after generation. And so there's a better way of doing things is what I want to say. So let's clarify this Fool reverse. That feels like Uranus retrograde coming in hot and heavy. And the first card out is that Three of Cups. And so I do feel somebody chose the path of partying, the path of friendship, maybe went towards a social group where it was all fun and games. Now the masks are slipping. I do feel somebody maybe went into hermit mode and avoided communication here. Definitely partying, overindulging, drinking. Somebody really played into indulging in order to mask their emotions, and I do think something got left behind very quickly and it never did get dealt with. And so there is going to be an opportunity though to bring some type of twin soul union together, but the lesson must complete first. And so what goes around eventually comes back around, and there's a karmic lesson here that needs to be mastered. There's a repeated pattern here that needs to be kiboshed and squashed in order for this new beginning. And so we can't keep repeating the same patterns with different people over and over again. And so there is some truth getting exposed. And I want to say this is self-sabotaging behaviors that we all need to look at. We all need to heal, because we can't project and blame other people for our shortcomings, and we all have them. We have to do the deep dive. We have to get honest with ourselves, and we have to move beyond these self-sabotaging patterns once and for all. And I do feel divine timing is saying this is fated. So whatever plays out under the energies this weekend, it is meant to happen. This has been avoided. Maybe there is this closing of a 7-year cycle, which I also feel could very well be connected to Chiron in Aries, because Chiron will be moving into Taurus. And so we will be starting a new 7-year healing cycle connected to Chiron, the wounded healer. And we do have a feminine here that has healed her self-worth, that has healed and stepped into this ability, I want to say, to be grounded in these energies and maybe healed from a missed opportunity that should have been a divine counterpart union. But let's take a look at this Hanged Man, because there is a new perspective shift coming in. There is the disillusionment of some type of false contract, belief, or pattern, and we are being asked to get grounded. This is the Virgo energy. So we got the Virgo Pisces axis, and so we can dream all we want about that union or that person, but if we don't take grounded, solid action, we're never going to make that manifestation come true, right? We can think about it and dream about it all day long, but we also do have to take the action, and we have to be open and honest, and we have to bring forward that open-hearted conversation. There could be a love offer coming, and if it is, it's going to be coming from somebody saying, hey, I'm ready to invest, and maybe it's taken me 5 years, 7 years to get to this point, but I'm ready. And so the sun in Virgo really is highlighting an opportunity to plant a new seed for big, big love. And this is divine union. And so I kind of feel like a Kundalini activation to get somebody to break free from this bubble that they've put themselves in. And so we do have to go within and do that deep shadow work to go through the expansion of where we keep ourselves stuck. So the Eight of Swords is the Devil card in the Minor Arcana. And so expanding beyond these toxic patterns. So where do you need to get real with yourself? Where do you need to burst your own bubble so you can step into being authentic? Because if you're connected in a relationship or a social group or family setting where you can't be yourself, break yourself free, burst the bubble, stop telling yourself the same old stories and the same old lies that keep yourself small. Step into that greatness, step into something better. Embrace this life force activation, because it's coming, ready or not. There's messages coming in this weekend, and it can be from your higher self. It can be from a stranger. There's going to be an unexpected message arriving, and this message is going to ask you to realign your path, to take the risk, to take the leap of faith, and trust that it's the path leading you towards healing. So where have you denied something on your heart to be true? Because this is connected to relationships. This is connected to a repeated pattern. This is connected to where we keep ourselves blocked because we're not being honest with ourselves. So get ready for some harsh truths to be illuminated this weekend. Let's get a closing message with the Guides of the Hidden Realms Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed, and we get Epiphanies Sing at Dawn. And so there's going to be epiphanies. There's going to be like this aha moment, the awakening of the new direction, the reorientation, but it's potential. We all have potential, whether we choose to step into that potential and that greatness. That is always up to us. But there is a cleansing, there is a making amends, there is a releasing of resentments and attachments, and there's that Virgo energy of order in the forest. And so there's a karmic reckoning, and there is this energy of finding your willpower and your determination to leave behind anything that is misaligned or not balanced with this energy coming in. So the closing message today, grace within the chaos. So Pisces is bringing the chaos. The grace within the chaos is the Virgo energy. So if you find yourself entrenched in Piscean chaos, lean into that Virgoan energy in your chart. Lean into the Virgo energy and accept the complexities of everything happening under this full moon. And do not get seduced by distractions, because distractions will always try to hold you back. It takes strength to break free from these toxic distractions. And so trust in your spiritual strength. Get ready to find a new focus. Really focus your attention. Prioritize your responsibilities and focus on the brilliant path ahead, because there's going to be truth coming forward, and we're going to have to witness that truth. And then we're going to have to give ourselves the grace under that truth, especially if it's coming in loud and it's been avoided up until now. So that is what I have for the full moon eclipse. I wish you all well this weekend. If you would like to go forward with me with a personal reading, check out the links below. You will find a link to my webpage. I offer a variety of levels of readings suitable for everybody to have a look at. Also, check the blog link post down below and read the full blog post on my webpage about the energies for this full moon eclipse. Good luck, everybody.